Hello and welcome to my channel on human design. So this is a channel where there's an opportunity for viewers to ask questions about the knowledge, their own chart, anything else. And it's exciting because I never know what's going to come through, and neither do you. And I will respond to it. And in doing that, I hope that you'll ponder what I've been saying and think about it and hopefully learn from it, and it'll be useful for you. All right, well, we start off with a very frenetic question and an important question that I think a lot of viewers are going to learn from as well. So this is from Scarlett. This is her question. Hey, Richard, maybe you can help with my insomnia. I've been dealing with it ever since I was a child. I discovered I'm in direct light early this year and love being up at night, but I still hardly get more than 3 or 4 hours, a lot of times even less. I have a defined head in Ajna, so I try to listen to something soothing when I'm in bed. I try to give myself time to wind down. I'm also a generator horizontally in my dream rave. During the day, I'm a 4/6 emotional projector. I'm definitely not living correctly yet. I'm hustling away in a server job as I'm building my own more appropriate business. So I'm aware that my sacral is totally burnt out often. And I'm also trying to be more social and really find my correct relationships as a fourth line so I feel more secure in my life. But is there anything else I'm missing in my chart that could help with my sleep? Thank you so much. Thank you for the question, Scarlett, a fellow struggler I see in your chart. So look, something is out of balance, clearly. You know something is out of balance and you know your chart. If we look at your chart, yes, there is going to be this anxiousness, the fixed ajna being all the time thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, under pressure to think, under pressure to think about the future especially, which is, can be very anxious. And then the other side, we have the other pressure center. So you've got both pressure centers, both under pressure. The pressure to struggle for your purpose, for your individual purpose, and the pressure to feel, to follow the dream, to be on the crescendo wave of the experiential emotional wave. The imagination and the desire to jump into something, while at the same time you're working really hard. In a, as you say, probably an inappropriate job for you, getting exhausted in that, and trying to be social to increase your network. I can understand the struggle and the pain and the desperation that must be going on with all that. So it's not surprising you can't sleep. And it is something that you've suffered with since you were a child. Well, now you know you're a nocturnal. That's good. I mean, I can see you really working at it. I can see you really going, look, how can I sort myself out? So the first thing is, let's see where the energy is going. The energy will be filtering away in the 27-4, giving too much, being too generous with energy you don't even have, getting more and more desperate. And at the same time, trying to fix yourself and trying to fix the life, trying to build a business, but you're not a builder. Where is the invitation for that business? I don't know the background to it, but it's something that should be invited out from others, or from something that you can really see coming your way, through your connection with other people. So if it's just an idea that you're trying to make happen and manifest, it's just not going to work in that way. You're going to have the problems that you've got, which is a lot more struggle. And having struggled myself, I know, we do not give up easily. But there are limits. So it's like, if the life, want to follow the dream, well, just come back and say, well, something's off. What can I do about it? That's the first thing. So you're giving away too much energy. The first thing is to sort yourself out with getting enough sleep. If you're going to go onto a sleep depraved life, well, then let it be useful. Let it be used for exploring other states of consciousness, but not as a regular life, not when you're trying to get your life together. It's not appropriate. So it's about really slowing down now. You're putting out too much energy. You're getting too wound up. and you're riding on that wind up, and it's getting more and more desperate, and it's getting more and more chaotic. And, you know, what will happen is the body will go, no. I mean, we're incarnated in the body. The body will just go, okay, that's enough. You know, that is the limit. That is the limit. And it looks like you're heading for the limit. So, yeah, we need to sort that out. Now, I'm not a professional health person, so, you know, anything I talk to you about in this sense, I would be just sharing what I think is a good thing from what I've done in research. So dealing with the body, you know, if you want to sleep, then if there's too many stimulants in the body, if you're using a lot of coffee to keep on going, you know, if you're eating too late and trying to sleep on a full stomach, you know, it's like, what's going to work for the body? So cutting down on the stimulants, keeping away all the EMF waves as much as possible. You know, I hope you haven't got a smart meter in the house, because that's a tricky thing. But your phone, your iPad, whatever it is, turn off the Wi-Fi. Take away the interference that's going to interrupt your sleep, and your mind will still keep working. So let's not go into the thoughts and more thinking. Let's use that mind that is under pressure to think, and give it something to think about that's really tedious. I mean, if you count backwards from 50 to 1, or if that doesn't work, from 100 to 1. But basically, the old adage of, you know, you want to fall asleep, count sheep. You know, give it something to do, but it's not leading anywhere. It's not leading to more thoughts. It's just an exercise. That may help. It's great that you're listening to something in the background, something soothing, because your mind is logical, or the stream of logic is there. Then I would also say you might want to listen to some broadcast or whatever, where people are talking, but it's not going to overstimulate you. You know, the mind will be trying to understand and getting sleepier. That could happen. But I think counting sheep or counting backwards is a good one. The other thing is, I would probably go to a herbalist and see if they had any advice. Valerian is supposed to be good for helping the body to sleep. Getting enough hydration is going to be very important with your fixed root, and you're under pressure all the time. So being properly hydrated. And that doesn't mean drinking a lot before going to bed, because then you'll wake up and you'll need to pee. So, but having enough water, having enough good fluids in the body is going to be important. Look at your diet. Look and see what additives you may be taking in the diet that could be disturbing you in some way. Yes, you need to eat in after the sun has gone down, but what are you eating? I would be looking at that. And one thing that can help in many ways is to foster a sense of gratitude in your life as you're sleeping, that you've got a bed to sleep in, that you've got all your limbs, that you're still alive, that the dream can still be lived. But it's like gratitude, the opening up of gratitude, the body itself will relax in gratitude. So I would also suggest you may want to try that. But then do look and see in your white centers, not just what you've got in terms of the root and the pressure centers, but also look at what you haven't got. Look and see that there is no fixed direction in the chart, and you can get anxious thinking about, where am I going? You know, who am I? Can anyone see me? You know, the open throat. And then watch yourself as you're with people, that you are attracting too much attention in the wrong way, perhaps, or you're being wound up by different things, you know, because you initiate. Watch that. Begin to see what's going on. The sacral has the 5-line 2 in it, which is a beautiful line of fixed rhythm. If you have it in your chart, it's about aligning to your own rhythm, you know, a tranquil rhythm, a peaceful and inner tranquility. Now, you don't have that as a power, but you have the potential wisdom of that to align to the right rhythm and clearly the rhythm is wrong. There's, you know, it's not working. It's winding you up even more and you can't sleep. So the fixed rhythm, you know, what is a fixed rhythm that you can align to that will help you to relax? Maybe it's Tai Chi. Maybe it's some form of dance, some sort of gentle dance and movement. Only you can really know that, but I invite you to experiment with it. And regarding the business idea, I don't know what the business is that you're building, but I do know that you're here as a guide, as you do know. So if there's already businesses out there and you're guiding them in some way, or people in some way, then great. But just bear in mind that you're here to be a guide of others. You're not here to work like a dog. You're not here to keep on working. It doesn't work. It will wind you up. So some sort of guidance and work that is not full-time would be the best thing. You need to be doing less, basically. Take care of yourself. You know, you're going through a rough period, but just appreciate the fact that you're still here and that you're doing the best you can. Strugglers will struggle. We will. But we're not always struggling in the right direction. So anyway, I hope that's been helpful, and thank you for asking the question. And our next question is from a self-projected projector with the 1333, and this is from 7 stars. Hello, Richard. Thank you for the insightful video. It truly resonated with me. However, your point about projectors not being here to become enlightened left me feeling a little unsettled. As a self-projected projector with only the 1333, I spent my entire life with an intense pressure to seek answers to existential questions, to impose order on chaos, and to give form to the abstract. The idea of releasing this drive feels unimaginable to me. In my chart, all 3 head center gates, the 64, the 61, and the 63 are there, and yet both my head and Ajna are undefined. This seems to have a magnetic pull towards people who carry the opposite gates. I like their presence and discussing with them. They have an ability to organize the ideas in my abstract mind, articulating in words the intuitive senses I can feel but struggle to express myself. Is this a sign of me operating from the not self? And more importantly, as someone with all head gates but an undefined head center, what is the healthiest, most aligned way to engage with these profound topics? Okay, 7 stars. So firstly, I didn't say that projectors aren't here to be enlightened. That was a quote from Ra that one of the viewers sent in. I did respond to that and explain my view on it. Okay, so regarding your head center gates, these are what Ra called all the gates of madness, basically, because you can think and think and think and think. Is it not self for you to talk to the people that you attract through that? No, it's not. It's a way of increasing your intelligence. With an open head and Ajna, you know, you can be incredibly intelligent, and you're exactly right. You know, you're picking up different pieces of inspiring information naturally. It's filtering through these 3 gates. So when you meet the other gates on the other side, damn right, you're going to have good conversations and inspiring conversations. You know, it increases the intelligence. That's wonderful. But at the same time, you're not here as a projector to be locked into the mind all the time and getting lost up there. That is the danger of the open head and the open Ajna, getting lost in the mind. You know, your channel is the 1333. You know, to go in a direction that makes you happy. And that direction is experiential. You talk to me about existential answers, and the answer's right in front of you. The answer is you're a projector. You're here to live the life. You're here to have a life, and you're here to wander through from one thing to another on the 1333 road, which I think is a kind of heroic road, to find out things, to experience things, to go different places and meet different people. You know, it's in the life. It's in the life. So it's not self to have interesting conversations given your head gates. But it is not self to get locked up there and forget about the life. So that's what I would say. And the way to fulfill having those gates is exactly what you're doing. You're thinking about things and you're getting conceptual frameworks from other people in order to channel your inspiration. But you don't want to live there. That's my point. I mean, write some books, write something that comes through you, in that, perhaps, to share your inspiration with others. But the life, it's all really about the life and the people around you that are really good for you, making sure you have them around you. All right. Hopefully that was helpful. Thank you, 7 stars. And our next question is from Tess, another projector. I'm a 1-3 ego projected projector, right angle cross of the 4 ways 2. I encountered human design in 2017, and to the best of my capacity, followed my strategy and authority ever since. I feel gratitude for some of the connections I've made, and I feel recognized and recognize. It sometimes feels like a constellation of beings, if that doesn't sound too grand, with whom I bond one-to-one within a larger shared context. However, I have never found work that nourishes me beyond the financial. Success has felt separate from money somehow. I feel positive about the upcoming 2027 shift, despite the monumental changes it will bring, and not a little discomfort, individually and collectively. I have a vague memory of Ra saying that projectors would come more fully into their own, so to speak, after 2027, more able to fulfill their purpose. Not sure if I've misinterpreted, but I would appreciate you expanding on this. Hi, Tess, and thank you for the question. It's funny looking at your chart. You have a abstract and individual mind, so you can really think in those terms with the 24th gate looking to the 61. What's the mystery? What's going to happen? You have the 31, the 8, and the 33 in the chart. So again, looking for direction, trying different directions, trying to find out what fits with you, but also what's the real challenge, this competitive side of you. Yeah, you can succeed materially, but it's not about the money. It's about the life. And you're asking me really, what's the challenge and what's the next thing beyond the money? Where can I really, step in and go into the new dimension? At least that's what I project. So what I would say to you about projectors in the future is projectors are here to guide the energy types, and we're moving into the end of a cycle where things are breaking down. There's a lot of people now that don't have jobs. There's AI coming, there's all kinds of replacement AIs that are taking away the jobs of the artists and the writers, etc. So it's not going to be an easy time materially if the material world operates in the same way. And personally, I don't think it will. So again, I cannot know this, but it makes sense to me that when everything breaks down and there is all this available energy and frustrated energy, not being used well because there's nothing to do where you can sustain yourself materially easily, then it makes sense that it would be the projectors that come and go, well, you could do this and this, and if you do it this way, and if you guys come together and do it together, then we can get this done, and that's going to help other people that will then bring in the flow of whatever's needed in terms of food, in terms of shelter, in terms of skills, in terms of invention, in terms of enjoying the life and experiencing nature more. I mean, we don't have to live in the society that we're in. We've become used to it. We've been conditioned to be in it and to regard that as the life. But if things are really going to crash down seriously and the various civilizations are going to start falling down and there's going to be all kinds of chaos, well, then I think projectors are absolutely going to be needed. And in the way that I described, to get the essential things sorted, to help the energy types to do what they can do in a more efficient and better way and come together better, and build with all that energy and build an alternative way of living that is more in alignment with being a human being. And that's one of the reasons that I'm hopeful about the future, because that would be beautiful and that would be more natural. It hasn't always been like this, you know. We haven't had the technological control and you know, taking away all our energy into computers all the time. This is a pretty new thing, and it's very unnatural, and I don't think it's going to continue. I don't know when it's going to break down, but either way, in the future, it will be the projectors that will be able to do that. Will, you know, people will then be inviting you. I don't know what to do. And well, you've got energy. We can do something, or you can do something. Why don't you do this? Uh-huh. Away you go. Why don't you do this? Okay. What about you? Uh-huh. Okay. You do it. Come on. You'll be in your element. So that's my view. Thanks for the question. Interesting one. And now a question from Lauren, a manifesting generator. Can you explain the 58-2 again? I've heard you talk about it before, but I'm confused what perversion really means in this context. I have it as my unconscious son. I tend to only be happy if I'm really struggling. Would that be a definition of perversion? I've tried to read about it everywhere I could think to look, and I still just can't seem to get a good understanding of how this shows up in my life and what it means to be perverse. Okay, Lauren, so we've got your chart here, which is great. So an unconscious sun, it's in an open root system. It is it is what I call natural joy. It's the joy of working with logical fuel to do something that isn't necessarily what the collective thinks you should do with it. You know, as I've explained before, I'm here teaching human design and enjoying human design. Human design isn't really recognized by the mainstream so much, at least not now. Why aren't I using that logical energy to fuel, you know, experiments that can help everyone in a more collective way? Because I'm perverse in that sense. I love what I do in human design, and those of you who love it too are here. So why should I? Why should I be bothered to go into a world that I find really boring? Because I can. And that's the perverse side of it. The other side is it is really full on. And Books for Planets did a comment from your question, which I really agree with. And her comment was in watching her partner, who has the 58-2 in Uranus. So that's even more unusual. This is something that she described. She summed up the way he was in this sentence, and I think it's a good one. I would sum it up as super fun joy that makes life worth living, but not to be indulged with every day. You know, because it does go overboard. It doesn't know the limits. It just gets carried away. And in that sense, it can be quite hard on the body and other people trying to keep up with it, because it has a lot of fun. So that's what I would say about the 58-2. And in your case, when you say about, look, you're only happy when you're struggling. Well, look at your chart again. You don't have the channel of struggle. It's not the right terminology. What you have is a channel of initiation. So it's not the struggle, it's the competition, it's the challenge. You know, when you're challenged, when your will is engaged in, you know, being the first, being the best, that's what's you that you identify with. It's black in the chart. And you also identify with being happy by going in your own direction with the 1/8. Your own creative direction, you know, down the less traveled road. That makes you happy. You know, it's not to do with perversion. It's to do with your direction and your identification with who you are. And yeah, you'll always need a challenge. It's got to be a, you know, a good challenge, a unique challenge. And it can take you many places. A lot of fun can be had with those channels you've got. I mean, they're very individual and they're very creative, and they will find some way to answer whatever the challenge is. That's really quite something. So Yeah, the open sun is not you. Okay, you're here to tap into that. You're here to be wise about that. So you get to see it, you get to take it in, you get to know what it's about, which is indeed one of the things that you're here to learn about. And to ride that energy, you know, and to see its limitations and to see how much fun it can be, and also how too much it can be. You know, you're learning it. It's perfect. No problem. Thank you for the question. There's some time pressure on this because this is a manifesting generator trying to find out where to live. Here's the question. I've been displaced for a while, and that's what led me to seek shelter at the beach, where I experienced the magic in water and how it transmutes energy. Over time, I've tried my best to gather resources and endure environments I'd rather not be in. Checked out a few apartments earlier because I really want my space. And I was expecting to have an outright yes when I got to the one, but there wasn't such a feeling. I only picked distinct things I liked about the two neighborhoods I visited. The first one felt like calm and warmth in my body, enclosed, more like shutting out the noise. I liked what I saw, crows around, and I could get a view of some of the green lands. While at the second place, access was a problem. I couldn't get into the house because the realtor didn't have the keys, and someone who was to help was at the work. But the feel of the environment was serene. I couldn't say for the apartment itself. Now I'm worried I'll make the wrong decision. And even if I wanted to get the first one, I'd need more resources and feel like I'm running out of time. If my sacral did speak to me, how would I know without someone asking me questions? Also, is there a full proof to knowing this except the guttural noises? Plus, are there different ways these responses can show up? Thank you. Okay, so I understand the time pressure. So really it's a question about response. And the first thing to understand is that you have a 34th gate and a 14th gate. The 34th gate itself doesn't make a sound. It's an energy that runs through the body. The 14 does make a sound, and it's a sound of being aligned. So when you walk into the apartment, it's like a It needs to have a sense of being comfortable to you. And more than that, the apartment needs to be a larger apartment. You need space around you. So if it's too small, it's not going to work for you. You've got to get into the apartment, okay? You can't say, well, should I choose the second one? I haven't seen it. Now, normally, I would say if there's, too much resistance, back off, it's not for you. But in your case, in your particular case, you're a real fighter. You've got the 38 4 times in the chart. You've got a lot of powerful charisma in you. You've got a lot of push in you. There's a lot of power that's in there, ready to kind of get there, no matter what the obstacles. So you've got to get in. And I don't think anyone's going to stop you getting into the second apartment. So I would definitely go and have a look at it. And in terms of when you do go in, there should be a sense of this will do for now. This is like a stepping stone, rather than it has to be absolutely perfect. If you saw a place, if you walked in as a manifesting generator and it was, a strong response, like you say, is it a real yes? Well, a real yes for a manifesting generator like you would be, oh, wow, it would be an experience of energy running through the body, in a huge amount of power. So the first one didn't give you that. And I also want to say you've got the 52 looking to the 9, so there can be a tendency to want all the little details to be there for you, and that could be getting in the way. But if it's not a strong response, then it's probably not the right place for you. And in terms of the guttural sounds, it doesn't have to be, it can be whatever it is, whatever comes up. Your response is your response. And now it's just from the 14. This needs to be a response. Is this a place where I can be of service to others? Is this a place where I can really build something without interference from the outside? Is this a place where I'm in the right kind of vibe, of people vibe, where I can meet the right connections? Because after all, you are a 4-6. All these things, you know, would be part of the ideal place for you. Also, in your case, there is a splenic awareness as well. It isn't your decision maker, but it does inform you in the moment of what's happening. And you should pay attention to that. You know, you're walking around with a spleen, which is like an indicator of this is right or this is wrong, this is healthy, this is not healthy. You've got that all the time. And it translates in terms of sensation. So the tingles on the temple and the hackles on the back of the neck and the shiver that comes through you, sometimes the goosebumps that go across the skin, you know, these are all indications of the spleen letting you know in the moment that this is the right place or this is the wrong place. You'll know that. It could be a kind of a sinking feeling too. If it's the wrong place, it's like, don't get involved here. Remember, you are a very strong design. You are incredibly ambitious. You have the channel of transformation and the 44. You know, so this is someone who really wants to climb the material ladder, and you will. I mean, I'm not worried about you. Not with your energy. You're tough. You know, you'll get through whatever it is, and you have already. You know that. So I'm not worried about you in that sense, but in terms of finding the right place, observe the energy running through you when you move into the place. As soon as you walk in, think in terms of what I've said in terms of the space. If there's any splenic sensations, take note of them. Don't let the mind get involved. Don't overthink things. You're here to be able to make a spontaneous decision based on your response and with the help of the spleen. And that's really all I can say to you. And don't be worried about making a wrong decision. If you make a wrong decision, then you'll move out and you'll have grown wiser with it. I mean, I'm a third line. I'm talking as a third line. And I know it's not that comfortable for you, but the reality is, if something doesn't work, you need to move on from it, just as you're doing now, trying to find a place where you can really build your own life. And I 100% respect that. And I know you'll do it. All right. So good luck. Good luck. And now for our final question from DNL-444. Hello, Richard. Thank you for everything. I admire your work and wish you good health, happiness, and more knowledge. Thank you. In short, a hypothetical question. Could it be possible, if aliens would need the knowledge, could it be that they can eat or drink the human design? The more undefined you are, the less knowing there is. Well, that is a strange question. DNL, that is a strange question. So the first thing is, what is an alien? You know, we need to know the category of alien. There are a number of different forces, you know, both material and immaterial, that are moving around that most people don't know about. What kind of alien? Is it a multidimensional alien? Is it something from supposedly a different landform? I mean, I can't answer the question because I don't know what kind of alien you're thinking of. And in terms of drinking and eating the knowledge, I mean, for me, human design is deeply nourishing. So it is a bit like food for me. You know, I feel enlivened through the contemplation of it and the meeting of it. So I would say that I eat the knowledge and drink the knowledge, but I can't speak for aliens. I really can't. And quite frankly, if I was just eating human design, I'd get very hungry because my body also needs to eat. So that's my answer to that one. And then you pop in at the end in the same sentence, the more undefined you are, the less knowing there is. Well, no, our openness is a place where we can grow wisdom. The things that are not us, the things that we are here to go to school to explore. I mean, it's not like the less knowledge, it's the less consistency. It's more openness. It's more receptive, taking in these energies and this these awarenesses, whatever they may be, depending on the chart. So no, I would disagree with that. We could say the more undefined you are, the less consistency there is, but not the less knowledge, the less you know. No, I've met some incredibly profound people who are very open in their chart. I mean, it's quite amazing. So no, I don't agree with that one. Anyway, I hope that's my response to your strange question, and I hope that was helpful or amusing or both. So thank you for your entertaining question. I've answered it to the best of my ability. And I hope you and the viewers have enjoyed this episode. And if you have, then please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be back again next week with something completely different. Bye for now.